Hey, how are you doing, superhumans? Welcome back to our new lecture. And in this lecture, we will be discussing the second shortcoming of mobile IP concept. Now, before moving on further, I would like to suggest you that first you watch my previous lecture in which I have talked about the double crossing, because triangle routing is somewhat the same concept as double crossing, but there is a little bit of difference, very little difference. So in our previous lecture, I have already discussed that whenever a remote host wants to send a packet to a mobile host, and let's say that this mobile host is in a foreign network, and this foreign network, within this foreign network, remote host is also there. This mobile host has come onto the foreign network in which this remote host is there. Now I have been talking about this particular concept from the last two lectures, that first this remote host has to send that main packet that it wants to send through the internet to the home agent of the mobile host, and then the mobile host's home agent is going to send the main packet by encapsulating this main packet inside another IP packet, in which it is going to have an IP header with the source field as its own address, with the source field having the address of the router R1, and the destination field is going to have the address of router R2. Now once this packet is sent to the foreign agent through the internet, this packet is then sent to the mobile host from this foreign agent. This is what actually happens, which I have shown with the green path. This is what actually happens. But what should have happened alternatively is that remote host, since mobile host is in its own network, should have been able to send the IP packet seamlessly without passing the IP packet two times through the internet. It should have been able to send the packet directly to the mobile host, since the mobile host in its own local network N2. Now, the possible solution for this particular problem of double crossing, could have been solved somewhat like this: that when RH, this remote host, sends the message or wants to send the message to the mobile host, although the first time it is going to send the message to router R1. Okay, this remote host sends the message to router R1. Then router R1, we know that it is going to send the message to the foreign agent. From the foreign agent, the message will go to the mobile host. But this is what actually happens. This is the problem. The solution for that is, the moment the message is received by router R1, this message, when the router R1 receives a message, then this router R1 should send an updating binding packet back to the remote host, telling the remote host about the current, this is the current care of address of the mobile host, so that the next time remote host wants to send a message, it does not have to send the message to the home address of this mobile host. What it can simply do is, since router R1 has now told the remote host that this mobile host's new IP address, or the new location for this mobile host, is this care of address. So what this remote host can do is simply map the IP address of the home address of the mobile host, the IP address which I call as the home address of the mobile host, to the care of address of this mobile host. The current care of address, I should say that the current care of address of this mobile host. When these two are mapped, it would become very easy for the remote host to send the packet the second time, not the first time. First time, this complete path will be followed. The second time, when the remote host wants to send the packet to the mobile host with this home address, it will look into its own table and it will find that this home address is mapped to this care of address. So instead of sending the packet to this home address, it should better send the packet to this care of address directly. So next time it is going to send the packet to directly this care of address. I hope that this much information is pretty clear to you. Now, the problem with this particular situation is that let's say that this mobile host changes its network from N2 to some other network N3. This is the foreign agent for that particular network, and this is the mobile host. I also want to talk about one more thing. This is the mobile host in the new network, and this is the remote host in the same network. Now, once this mobile host changes the network, this mobile host in this network is going to have a new care of address. So each time the mobile host is going to change its network, the home agent needs to make sure that the home agent sends a warning packet to the remote host that the mobile host has changed the network now and you need to update the information in your own table. I hope that this much point is clear to you, that once this mobile host changes its network, the home agent has to send this is the problem that might occur. So to overcome this problem, because once the mobile host changes its network, it has got the new care of address, and since it has got the new care of address, if the mobile host is having the new care of address, then if the remote host wants to send the message to the previous care of address, it won't reach the mobile host that it wants to. The message won't reach the mobile host that it wants to send initially. The message might reach some other mobile host MH2, because this care of address, if it gets assigned to a new mobile host that comes into this foreign network, then that packet might be directed to some wrong mobile host. To overcome this particular problem, what we can simply do is that once this mobile host H1 changes its network to some other network, what this home agent can do is it can send a warning packet to the remote host telling the remote host that you need to update the information that you have mapped of this mobile host's home address with a new information. So the new care of address that will be mapped will be this one. So I'm writing this care of address as new COA. Okay, now the second case that I am taking over here is, let's say it was a case that I wanted to connect so that you could understand the concept of triangle routing. Now I'll talk a little deeper into this by taking a case 2. Let's say that this is the home network N1 R1, and this is the new network, this is the foreign network, and over here there's a foreign agent R2, and right now the mobile host H1 is in this network. Also the remote host is in some other network. Okay, so what happens right now is, first, if remote host wants to send a particular packet, remote host is not inside the network N2, it's in some other network. Okay, so first what will happen if it wants to send the packet? First it will send the packet to the home agent, then home agent of the host H1. Then from home agent of the host H1, the packet will be redirected to the foreign agent of the host H1, and from this foreign agent of host H1, the packet will be given to the home agent. So packet goes from the foreign agent to the home agent. The first packet reaches over here, then foreign agent redirects the packet to the host H1. This is the thing that happens actually. But what should have happened? I think that you must have already understood this concept, but I wanted to make it in a generalized way. What should have actually happened is this, that this remote host should have directly been able to send the message to the host H1 instead of passing the message twice through the internet. Okay, Now to overcome this problem, as I've already talked about before, what we can do is that this particular remote host sends an update binding packet for the first time. The router R1 is going to send the packet, the main packet, by encapsulating into a new packet. It is going to send that new packet to the foreign agent, and from foreign agent that packet will be transferred to the host H1. But in the first time only, when router R1 is going to redirect the packet to the router R2, before redirecting, it is going to make sure that it sends an update binding packet to the remote host, telling the remote host that for the home address, for this H1's home address, you should directly send the packet to the H1's care of address. I hope that you would have understood this thing, that home agent R1 tells the remote host that next time if you want to send the packet, instead of sending it to me and then I sent it to H1, what you could simply do is you could map the home address of the H1 to the care of address of H1. So the next time what happens is, this was the first time that the thing happened. So the second time, when remote host wants to send a packet to the mobile host H1, it sees in its table that the new address, or I can say the care of address that is mapped to the home address of H1 is this. So instead of sending the packet to the home address, it will send the packet to the care of address. So now the IP packet will look something like this. In the source field will be the IP address of remote host, and in the destination field will be the care of address of the mobile host. Care of address of mobile host. Now the same problem arises over here as well, that what if this host H1 is going to change its network? In those cases, when the host H1 is changing its network and it is moving on from network N2 to some other network N3, in those cases, the home agent has to make sure that it sends a warning packet to the remote host to make sure that it updates its table by having the new care of address of the host H1. The new care of address which host H1 is going to have in some other network N3. Over here, the host H1 has the new care of address. I hope that this complete concept of triangle routing would have been very clear to you, because I have talked about it in very detail. And with this, we end the series of mobile IP module. Before ending this, I would like to highlight this one particular thing of success, which is 5 Rs, which I have been talking to you about in my previous lectures as well, which is reset, restart, re-aim, replan, and refocus as many times as you want in your life. Bye. Have a happy day.